Hi, I'm Terry Wright.
And I am Michele Wright.
Welcome to my CF Journey.
No, Terry, our CF Journey.
Oh, yes, you're right, our CF Journey.
And by the way, happy anniversary.
Thank you, and many more. 57, of course, black male, and my journey with CF has been from birth. And what's so ironic about it, I was only recently diagnosed 2 years ago. So my journey with CF of sickness, I've constantly stayed in and out the hospital since a child, Children's Hospital, and they normally would just say that he has a bug in his stomach, a virus, and just kind of send me home, shoot me up with Demerol, Finnegan, and just kind of relieve the pain, just tentatively. But it seems to come right back a couple of days later. So the pain can last up to a couple of weeks, constantly, pain, just like someone to kick me in my stomach. And my journey also with the CF, patients experience it different. It attacked my GI system when I was much younger. Ended up having a Whipple surgery when they removed a piece of my pancreas and one of my ducts because of the cystic fibrosis. For you all that don't know what that is, this is a genetic thing here with mucus. My transmitters that normally signal off for a normal person to dilute your mucus, mine is not working. So it's a genetic thing. So my mucus very thick and clogs up everything, and that's what happened with my pancreas. It clogged up one of my ducts and caused me to have the pancreas surgery. And that was in 2001, and shortly after that I just started having a whole lot of chronic pneumonia, chronic sinusitis. It was just wreak havoc on me, and I was just wondering what's really going on with me. I knew I was not normal. I had breathing issues. Even as a child, I had breathing issues. I thought it was like a seasonal asthma, but come to find out, it all relates back to the cystic fibrosis. And a lot of people come not diagnosed, especially being a black African American. You just can't say, well, you have a cold, you have pneumonia, you have sinusitis. They don't really do the research and take you through the things that they probably need to take you through. So I was recently diagnosed in 2000 once again with the cystic fibrosis. And when I was diagnosed, they sent me to a children's hospital. It was so ironic. The same place that kind of kicked me out was just saying it was a virus. They diagnosed me. They did a chloride test on me, which is a sodium test. And they test whether you're salty or not. And so I was a salty dog for them. And so they diagnosed me with the cystic fibrosis. And living with the cystic fibrosis, it gets tough sometimes because I have to take these treatments. And the nebulizer, and I wear this vest that I have to put on twice a day, and the nebulizer twice a day to kind of clear my lungs. If not, all that mucus will build up. And this vest that I wear is this very expensive vest. It's $30,000 just for that vest, and it goes by remote control. So I push this button, it just vibrates me. Vroom, vroom. But back in the day, they used to hit the children on the back and kind of break loose the mucus. But now they have the, thank God for the technology that they have out there, that I can use my vest and the nebulizer and a lot of very expensive medicine that I have to use, very high power antibiotics in my nebulizer. Another one thing on my journey with the CF, migraine headaches. I feel like all that is related because it clogs up my sinuses and I end up with these terrible migraine headaches. It's aches in my body, which is caused the inflammation from the cystic fibrosis. I have good days and bad days. For the most part, I try to stay very active and very positive attitude about it. And keep in mind, I was only recently diagnosed 2 years ago, but I've been living with this disease from birth. And my understanding, both parents got to carry that gene. And so that's how I ended up with the cystic fibrosis. And that's my story. In my younger days, before all these surgeries, I've had like 19 surgeries. Before all these surgeries, I was very active. I participated in sports, the track team, 440-yard relay, 80-yard relay, mile relay. I did marathons. I ran 10K races. I've taught step aerobics. I taught martial art, taekwondo. So I was very active, climbing Pinnacle Mountain. So what I really believe kind of happened in the process of me playing tennis and racquetball and pickleball, I tore up my knees. So in the midst of me messing my knees up, my lateral meniscus and my medial meniscus, so it caused me to be less active as far as my lung function. And I believe it all caught up with me when I wasn't able to move and breathe deeply into my lungs. So the cystic fibrosis always been here, just waiting on me, and was just waiting for the right conditions. And I allowed those right conditions when I got inactive. But I'm pretty active now. I'm doing a whole lot of gardening, organic gardening. I'm moving about. I'm not the average gardener. It's not just planting flowers. I really believe in a beautiful landscape, so I get very active moving rocks and stones and just landscaping it properly.
To me, it's amazing him being both African American and almost 57 years old.
Mm-hmm. And having CF. Well, I think it's amazing. It's really weird. Yeah, because, normally it's a white kid's disease and they don't live past 18 or 20, but with modern medicine, things are getting better and everything. Wow, you're just a walking miracle with you. And
you don't think of a black man with cystic fibrosis at all. That's normally a Caucasian disease. They find it in other races now, but it's normally that gene carries in the Caucasian race. And they usually be shocked, especially of my age, 57, with cystic fibrosis. And as healthy as I'm looking now, the typical CF patient, probably very thin, maybe 90 to 120 in weight, because the cystic fibrosis, what it does, it attacks your pancreas and it causes you not to absorb your nutrients. So that's what explains the feeble looking of the typical CF patient. But keep in mind also, the cystic fibrosis attack each individual different. And some, it goes to the GI, some goes to the lungs, some goes to the sinus, the pancreas, of course, in the male. Your fertility, normally you don't have children, especially with me. I always wondered that. So come to find out, like I said, within 2 years ago, was diagnosed with the cystic fibrosis. So everything just like revelation to me now. Now I know why I think the way I think and why I feel the way I feel now, that this is not normal. Knowing what I know now with the cystic fibrosis, I probably, in fact, I won't probably, I know definitely my diet would have been different. I would have been concentrating more on eating even more healthier, more good organic green foods, drinking plenty of water. That's very important. You have to move that mucus and dilute it as much as possible. And of course, anything that's going to cause my lungs to work, my lung function, would be cycling, running, jogging, something gonna cause me to breathe deep into my lungs. These things right here is very healthy for the CF person, to be very active working those lungs, because if not, stuff will just sit there and just be stagnant. You want to move that. So to help it move, work those lungs. So if I know what I know now, I would have been more active. Attitude is everything to me. Your attitude, your perspective on life. And people, they tell me all the time, Terry, you always smile, you always got this wonderful attitude. If I ever sit them down and really tell them my story, I have plenty of things to be sad about. We choose to have that attitude, that state of mind, whatever condition we're in. If you focus in on that, on me, on my, and be down, you would take on that. Your whole disposition, your demeanor, it would shine on the outside. So my attitude always be just be happy and be happy for others. Just be happy for others and try to do positive things and keep it moving.
So what advice do you have for other cystic fibrosis patients in general and African American cystic fibrosis patients specifically?
My advice is to hang in there.
Okay.
Stay encouraged, because they're steady coming up with different improvement and ways of making your quality of life much better. It's cystic fibrosis patients. So just hang in there and try to stay encouraged.
Are you encouraged?
I'm very encouraged, especially when you have a supportive spouse like I have, Michele Wright.
Don't you forget that.
Never forget that.
You know why?
That's why I'm here tonight.
The best is yet to come.
It has came. It has entered the room. Support to me is everything, because you see people in your corner, for instance, my wife, and excellent support, because if it really wasn't for her, I probably would have died in 2000, because that's when I had that pancreas surgery, the Whipple surgery, when they removed a piece of my pancreas and one of my ducts. She encouraged me and just kind of baby me through the whole deal there, so to speak. And of course, I can go all the way back to mom as a child, just having my mother as that support. Because I remember as a child just being very, very sick, just constantly throwing up bowels. My mom would let me just get into bed with her. I would just curl up and just wish I was dead. That's the type of pain. But to have that support, that positive person in your life, or to have that support person to speak something positive in your life, means the world. And what I normally do, I hang around like-minded people, you know, positive people, and it means a lot. Without it, you can find yourself isolated. And you really can entertain a lot of negative thoughts. So it's very important to get around some energy, people that think like you and for you, is rooting for you. So you have to be very careful who you choose to be around. That's my advice. one of the myths surrounding cystic fibrosis, I might tell someone, I have cystic fibrosis. And what they would probably think, he might be contagious. You know, but I'm only contagious to another cystic fibrosis person. That's the only time because I carry a bacteria, Burgholder's. That bacteria will wreak havoc on another cystic fibrosis patient. But if you have a healthy immune system, you're around me, there's no problem at all. But and a lot of them just really kind of want to know what it is. And it's a genetic thing. It's a mucus, a thick mucus. That's what it is. The secretions that normally come out your nose, if it's coming out of my nose, I hate to be vivid like this, very thick, like a snail. So this mucus just don't move. And they just want to know what all happens with a cystic fibrosis patient. I tell them my GI, my stomach, my pancreas, my lungs, my sinuses, pneumonia. I have to go through all these things. And a lot of people don't know these are classic signs of cystic fibrosis. Ooh, wow. Just got my new vest, especially at these times. Make this vest and taking these treatments, I done boost my treatments up even more so now. 3 to 4 times a day, taking all my medications. Oh, nice. My new vest, it comes even like better than my other vests, even lighter than the other vests. A little bit more technology-wise. New improved vest. I'm so excited. Can't wait to take my first treatment, and stay tuned. I will do my first treatment with you guys here shortly. Yes, I was very surprised that when I was diagnosed 2 years ago with the cystic fibrosis, and I said to myself, I've been living all these years not knowing. I must move on, not knowing. And just to educate yourself more on the disease. That means a lot. The latest stuff that's coming out, the latest medicines that's coming out, the techniques, and what you can do for yourself personally. And don't just depend on the healthcare professionals to do it for you. Take the initiative and do something yourself. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. There's going to be some times, some days that you're going to think about, and why me? Why not you? But don't give up. Wherever you are at whatever point, work with that. Work with what you have. If you have a little stick in your hand, work with the little stick. If you have a large stick, work with the large stick. Just whatever is given to you and dealt to you, just work with it. Hi, I'm Terry Wright. I'm a cystic fibrosis patient, and I'm getting ready to take one of my treatments here with my vest and with my nebulizer. But right now, let me check my battery level on my vest. It's all lit up. It's saying that I'm able to take a charge here. So I'm putting on my vest. We're going to tighten it up pretty good. It fits right below your lungs there. The purpose of that, it kind of vibrates that mucus and kind of help shake it down where it needs to go. At the same time, I'm using my nebulizer. And this vest right here is remote control. I got the systems here. And now I'm going to grab my nebulizer. Put 7% solution in here. And that's going to kind of help break up the mucus as well as I shake it up. Now I'm going to turn on the vest here. And go from there. We hit go. And we're off going. Now we can put this back in so it vibrates all over the chest, the back, the lungs, the lower rib cage. Now we're cutting this on and watch me take a treatment here. By the way, that's my beautiful wife taking a picture right here. Hey, baby. This is a nebulizer. It breaks up the mucus. It thins the mucus out. For a CF patient, we don't have that ability, that gene, that genetic that cause our mucus to be thin. So that's why I'm doing the nebulizer as well as this vibrating. And stay tuned for our next segment. Thank you and have a great day. Definitely take your treatments. That's very important for you to take your treatments. If you have a vest or if you have a nebulizer, take your treatments. And don't feel like they're not working. It's sort of like exercising. The times you feel like the exercises, oh, it's not working, and you lay off the program, you find out it was working all the time. You know, I felt better, but as soon as I stopped working out, I started putting the weight on and everything, but it actually was working. So same way with the CF, continue doing what you're supposed to do and keep all your doctor visits and stay encouraged. You know, I talked about riding the bike and running, but if you can't do that, that's fine. If you just get up and just move in your home, sweep the floor, vacuum the floor, clean up your room, arrange your closet. Just move, just move. That's my advice and my closing statements. Thank you all so much for allowing me to share my space, to come into my space. Have a great day. All right.
You know, as I think about it, probably nobody outside of his mother has seen my husband Terry Wright suffer from what will ultimately be diagnosed as cystic fibrosis more than me. My husband and I actually celebrated 19 years of wedding bliss today. Can you believe it? However, when I met my husband more than 20 years ago, little did I know the life-changing journey ahead of us both. So let me explain. Although I connected to Terry right away, I could tell something was wrong. His face appeared sunken in, and he was constantly going to the restroom after he ate because he could not keep down his food. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I knew he wasn't well. Matter of fact, I knew something was terribly wrong. I even came to learn that he spent the majority of his tender years at Arkansas Children's Hospital without any type of diagnosis outside of them saying it must be viral. To make matters worse, he would make an average of 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 trips a week to the hospital because of uncontrollable vomiting and extreme excruciating stomach pain. One of his many diagnoses was chronic pancreatitis, followed by many surgeries, including even gallbladder removal, in an effort to treat this unknown condition. However, that didn't stop me from wanting to spend the rest of my life with this Prince Charming. So I ultimately accepted his hand in marriage and officially became Mrs. Michele Wright on November the 4th, 2000. However, instead of enjoying our scheduled honeymoon, Terry was at the emergency room because of violent pain coupled with uncontrollable vomiting. And I was right by his side, as I've been for roughly the past 20 years, because I loved him and I took my vows through sickness and health and life and death very seriously, even through our unforeseen journey to find answers and ultimately uncover Terry's unpredictable cystic fibrosis diagnosis. Interesting enough, being in the pharmaceutical industry and promoting broad spectrum antibiotics, I pretty much knew some of the classic signs of pneumonia. So shortly after meeting Terry, I suspected something was seriously wrong when he could not stop coughing and complained of intense chest pains and had trouble breathing. Fortunately, I lived right next to St. Vincent Walk-In Clinic and made Terry go there to make sure he was fine. What was a moment that almost decades came full circle is when an Indian doctor told us Terry unfortunately had double pneumonia. That was really not a surprise. However, he didn't stop there. He also injected that if Terry were not African American, he would conclude that he had the classic signs of cystic fibrosis. We all appear to dismiss this revelation. Nonetheless, we continue our journey to find answers because I knew if we did not get help soon, my beloved Terry was going to die. No sugarcoating here. After much research and desperation in 2001, Terry and I met with Dr. Clifton Parnell, who immediately told us that Terry had the worst pancreas he had ever seen in his 30+ years of medical practice. All I can do is cry because I saw the continual suffering, pain, and trauma on Terry's face and to his body. Subsequently, we decided to accept the risk, and Terry went under the knife for an 8-hour pancreaticojejunostomy to remove part of his pancreas and reroute his ducts. Following this major surgery and 1-month hospitalization, Terry's concerns migrated from his pancreas back to his lungs and the relentless flow of mucus in his sinus. Over the next 17 years, Terry would be hospitalized more times than I care to even count, with double pneumonia and extreme breathing issues. And to make matters worse, literally every medical specialist possible examined Terry and came to the same conclusion: double pneumonia, be it aspergillus, pneumococcal, mycoplasma, something even viral, to name a few, of an unknown origin. We even try to have children over the years with no success, not understanding at that time that infertility is a classic sign of cystic fibrosis as well. Following his hospitalization on multiple occasions in 2016 for double pneumonia, bronchitis, and sinusitis, we finally both had enough and made a desperate plea to an infectious disease clinic at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, also known as UAMS. You know, life has a way of coming full circle. The Indian ID physician that examined Terry at UAMS said the same words that haunted us roughly 17 years earlier: if you were not African American. But this time, he decided to at least rule out cystic fibrosis and sent Terry back to Arkansas Children's Hospital, the same hospital he spent most of his debilitating childhood, to take a sweat chloride test. And finally, after 54 or almost 55 years of suffering, Arkansas Children's Hospital, followed by subsequent testing at Johns Hopkins, confirmed Terry's shocking diagnosis of cystic fibrosis. As such, he is now under the care of UAMS Cystic Fibrosis Center and their multiple teams of specialists, and looks forward to celebrating his 58th birthday next year. However, my first question was obvious. Why in the world did it take literally 5.5 decades to diagnose what were the so very obvious classic signs of cystic fibrosis? Well, the reasons were both evident and heartbreaking, and to be honest, quite disturbing. He is African American, and unfortunately, assumptions due to his race and ethnicity were made, resulting in 55 years of an underlying unmet medical condition and diagnosis. And although it is devastating to think of all the years of suffering without an appropriate diagnosis, Terry has now made it his mission and passion through the founding of the National Organization of African Americans with Cystic Fibrosis, also known as NOAACF or NOAACF, to help raise cystic fibrosis awareness in the African American community, while serving as a beacon of hope to cystic fibrosis patients across multiple diverse demographics. NOAACF and Terry's goals are to connect, help build diverse communities, and raise CF awareness in the African American community and beyond through its national platform, thus ensuring that all individuals, without exception, are appropriately diagnosed and treated for cystic fibrosis. This is our mission, this is our purpose, this is our duty, this is our responsibility. So please join us and let's make a change for the better in the diverse spectrum of cystic fibrosis for not only today, but for generations to come.
I want to thank everyone for taking time and just hearing our journey.
Well, let's be fair. Technically, Terry, it is your cystic fibrosis journey, but we do appreciate you all taking time with us today. We thank you, and we want to make sure we're making a difference together for cystic fibrosis.
And hang in there, guys. You can do it.
And the best is yet to come.